What's good, YouTube? This your boy Rogue Sanchez back with you with another IQ 200 and Rogue content. Before we begin this discussion, please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe to your boy. It motivates me to produce more content such as this. Whether you support it or you're against it, it's always a battle between meta and rogue, creativity and copy. Okay. With today's discussion, I watched a video of my couple friends about the ban list predictions and discussions, and shout outs to you all. Your boy YGO Unfiltered watched this video not too long ago before making this one. He hit some good points, and I'm going to touch on those too, and also piggyback on most of those that are also waiting on this ban list to drop. It may be Friday or it may be next Monday. But some also mention it may not happen because of the events for the remote duel, which is fine and all. So, me honestly, what are my intakes on the ban list? As you understand, we look at the top tier decks such as Sorso, Tri Brigade, all variants with the 10-Yi engine, the Shaddolls, the Invokes, you name it, all that common stuff that you see at the tournament. But yet, what people don't tell you is most of the meta players, they all play the same package, the same engine as everybody else. However, they only face and occur one problem, and it's always addressed to the ban list. And most Yugi tubers address this fact because all the meta players want to play meta and play meta freely to stop those that are learning the game and learning the curve, or just copy and paste decks. So this is for you. So honestly, you can correct me on this one. In my opinion, the reason why the ban list occurred is that most meta players, that this is for you again, meta players, that you copy and paste decks and add this, that, and the third because your goal is to win. I'm not knocking you for wanting to win, but you're using methods that other duelists use but incorporate cards, this, that, and the third to make it or establish it as your own. But if you look at my last video saying that most decks are archetype decks, I'm not knocking you for learning the basics of that the basis of that engine. But it's more of the creative ideas that other champions had success with, and you feel that you too can have the success with it by constantly looking over their videos and going through the training of how they play the deck and how they counter other decks. And this in turn, how most of the market prices of these particular cards go up and gets hit on the list. But meta players only play meta players and only respect meta players. So here is my ban list prediction from a meta player point of view. And also, don't get it twisted too. These cards I have encountered, they are problematic, but I had no problems with dueling them at all. Like, if you have the outs, you have the outs. It's just that simple. But if you don't have the outs, don't sit there crying that you couldn't play because this person locked you out of 5 negates and like 14 interruptions, whatever the case may be. You can't play Yugi, and now you're pissed, and now you want to go and hit the internet again and post decks and play decks that won YCS and to get feedback. It's okay if you do not recognize that particular playstyle of that deck. But if you don't think outside the box, you will always stay enclosed and play meta, and only meta players counter meta decks. When something rogues like this one guy, for an example, not just this one guy, but um, if you counter someone that plays rogue or your local, someone tops locals just trolling, you get pissed. So you really can't sit there and get pissed at them. I mean, if you get trolled, you get trolled. Serves you right for not thinking outside the box. But those in particular, not saying you per se, but if you are one of those, you need to reflect on your deck building strategy instead of looking at what the top players use to win. Don't get me wrong, those cards do help. What good is the card if the strategy is not there? So you can have $100 card or $300 card in your deck, but get slapped around with a 10-cent card that you ain't never seen before, and now you call judge and now you all heated because this 10-cent card stopped your $200 card. It doesn't have to be the red. It doesn't have to be a change of rarity. I know commons that are upwards in $30 that'll still trump your card. So if you know the ways, the ins and outs, and the counters, but yet you voice your opinions on, oh, it's not going to work, it's inconsistent, things like that, then you give those that want to play with their own methods, their own play style, a discouragement, and you force them to play meta. And that's why we have this battle between role players and meta players. But now back to this ban list prediction. From a meta player's point of view, and this is the ban list in terms of how much you guys complain about the stuff. I'm just going to give you the ban list that meta players want. Okay, on the forbidden list, we got DPE, which is not problematic. Some want it banned, some don't. But the actual hits will be Verde Anaconda. It just sets up too much. Verde Anaconda, banned. Okay, what else is banned? Imperial Order, banned. Because that card is way too easy to search. And floodgate decks are heavily reliant on such cards. Okay, that's banned. What else is banned? Honestly, would be, let's see, just those two cards banned, honestly. Imperial Order and Verde Anaconda. You can also give me your inputs on that hit list, but I feel 99% of the decks playing today using that package. So Verde Anaconda and Imperial Order banned. And my possible ban will probably be Shaddoll Winda. Reason why I say her, because she only allows each player to one summon. But she's not really that much of a threat, honestly. Getting her out is. So instead of banning Winda, you ban the sister counterpart. The other fusion, I can't think of her name off the top of my head right now, but y'all know who I'm talking about. Instead of banning Winda. Those are the only cards banned. Now to one, yes, Winda should be at one. Shaddoll Winda should be at one. What else should be at one? Virtual World, the continuous track card, Chuchi, that should be cut to one because it's easily searchable. What else should be cut to 1? Fractal Trabigades. The Lyrilisk rank 1 that bounces shit all over the place. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Who else? Shadal Schism at 1. Magical Meltdown at 1. What else at 1? Pot of Desires at 1. Even though they're not going to touch it. And there's another one. There's one particular deck. Because we got to hit all the good cards. We got to hit them. Cyber Emergency 1. So those my cards for the 1. Also for the ban list too, I forgot about it. And Drytron gotta get hit too. Eva has to get touched. Eva on the chopping block. No questions asked. She's on the chopping block as well as Cyber Angel Benton. They both gotta go. Now, for the semi-limited, I can see this card actually. I can see this card, I think, honestly, go down to 2 or up to 2. I mean, the deck's still new, so it ain't gonna be touched right now. Down to 2 would be, which is really difficult. What's at 2? For you Elixir players, Conquistador down to 2. Elixir of the Awakening down to 2. I can see Pancratops up to 2. And Called by the Grave up to 2. Triple Tactics Talent down to 2. And there's one more. I gotta hit something rogue. One more at 2. That would be, I'm gonna give you meta players something. Mystic Mind. Mystic Mind can go to 2. I can see that go to 2. But if not, maybe a possible 1. But Mystic Mind, in reality, in my opinion, on the TCG side, is not going to get touched. So, all you meta players that's crying about that it hurts getting Mystic Mind, you know how many outs, negates, and interruptions your deck has versus that one card? Yeah, that fucked your whole day up, don't it? Yeah, Mystic Mind at 1, I'm going to say at least. But overall, it's not going to get touched. Nemesis Protoss, I think, is not going to get touched. So many outs for it. Even though Sorcerer got searches for it. But it's not going to get touched. And that's it for the cards at 2. Now let's look at the cards at 3. One may come back. Skullcrow back Joker. Gotta get some love and support for the Pendulum players. What else? And there's another card that supports them as well too. Most of the Pendulum supports at 3. Emergency Teleport at 3. We really need it. What else? What can come off the ban list that can go to 3? Nothing really. I guess this is pretty much it that can go to 3. There's plenty of 2s, plenty of 1s. What I would like to see come at 1 would be if they really want to move this archetype through, is to give us Heavy Metal Foes Electromite. I don't personally play the deck, but I would like to see what it will do in this format since you gauge Strikers their full power with Widow Anchor. Engage can stay at 1. I ain't trying to hear that. Because people was too reliant on that card. There's too many searches, too many recoveries for that card. And I would like to see Max C get unbanned. Would it be 3? That's a strong possibility, but I can see it going to 1, then sometime to 2 later on down the line. But if they just give you that 1 Max C, I mean, it shouldn't hurt anything. 1 Max C versus OCG's 3. And what else can come off the ban list? Honestly. Because since you guys want to complain, Royal Oppression. Pay 800 to negate special summons. Yeah, why not? Put it at 1. If you're going to ban Imperial Order, give us Royal Oppression. I can see that happening. But you know, at the end of the day, the meta players, the meta Yu-Gi YouTubers that made their ban list predictions, some of them are most likely spot on. And some of them were caught off guard. But those are my intakes on the ban list. My prediction, and this is a first for me because I don't do ban list predictions. I usually just wait till the ban list drops and then I play accordingly based off that ban list, or I can adjust to add more cards or take more cards away. But every deck I build does not have any effect on the ban list. So, and before I forget, because I do play this deck and it does seem problematic, some of the artifact package has to be cut or just off the chopping block. You can go ahead, ban the Scythe. We had it too long. Scythe, I love you, but you gotta go. Dagda has no, Dagda's not really the problem, just really Scythe. Scythe is the main core. And another card I wish to be cut at 1 will be Alistair and the Invoker. So if you got Magical Meltdown and Alistair at 1, it can hurt the deck to a certain degree. And Bird Up's not really that problem other than Fractal and the other Tri-Brigade monster, but everything else is pretty cool. Yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of that ban list or that side. And I know some of you that's watching this video are pretty much getting it kicked out of what I think the ban list is going for. But know this, I'm not saying I'm 100% right. This is just, it is what it is. I just thought I'd just throw out a ban list. But most of the ban list predictions based off the complaints and the crying, the bitching and moaning from meta players. And also some rogue players too. Metas want Mystic Mind banned. Everybody else want DPE, Fusion Destiny, and Dragoon banned. Even though OCG did ban Dragoon. Don't worry, Dragoon will get his ass bent in the next ban list. So right now we can have Dragoon, we can have Fusion Destiny, and all of them at full power. But just hit the most probable card would be Verte. Verte would be the wisest choice in terms of hitting that card. But if they want to promote the Predaplant support, Uh, if they want to promote the Predaplant support, they probably would just chop him down to one. But I think now he got to go because there's going to be more problems once this falling of Baha's structure that comes out with branded fusion. That's going to spell more problems. So now their interruptions went from 2 to 3 to now more interruptions, and they really out for bad. They really out here trying to prevent players from not playing. And that's my intake on the ban list, but also the general discussions, like some cards I came up with, like as I mentioned, if you want to have some outs, start playing rogue. Think outside the box. Look at other card effects that you think that doesn't work. Like for an example, you need to start siding you some outs. You go to events such as YCS for a reason, because one, you know what decks are going to be played. But if you happen to run across that one or two that's trolling YCS or just being rogue, you will already have your deck sided and prepared to have outs. So that's the problem with you guys. You don't have outs. You only counter each other instead of, you guessed it, and that's why the deck algorithm as it stands in terms of the top decks are all over the place, because now it's starting to open up and keep you guys guessing, and when you don't have no outs, you lose. So that's pretty much it. So I mean, you can cripple some decks down with just those that I mentioned, and once you hit them, everything be floating all over the place. And what I will like to mention too, if they do bring emergency teleport to 3 for the support of the Punk engine, I also like to see Colossus get up banned at least to 1. That's just a wishful thinking list on Konami's part, since we may possibly get a Colossus reprint. I highly doubt it, but there's some shits and giggles floating around about a reprint Colossus and possibly it being unbanned. And I hope you guys like my last video of how to use the continuous trap card to change the type. That's going to see some meta play too, because that card actually stops Zombie World. It stops L-Lick if you think about it. And all your opponent has to do is I'm just going to send the continuous trap card or spell on the field to activate the effect as cost to target a zombie in their graveyard to add it to the hand, special summon 1 from the hand. So if they go and use L-Lick's effect in the graveyard to send a face-up spell or trap as cost, you chain the continuous trap card Rebirth and change the type from zombie to something else. They can't add that L-Lick to the hand. Well, technically, they can add it to the hand since you activated it as cost and he was a zombie when the activation occurred. He goes to the hand, but however, they can't special summon him out the hand because he's now whatever type you declared. So, they would go through and send this cost. I'm going to target my L-Lick. Okay, you chain that. They add it to the hand, but they can't special summon it because he's now a machine, a sidekick, whatever type you call. And keep in mind, he stays that type to the end of the turn. Whether he's in the graveyard, on the field, in your hand, banished, whatever. He's that type. So be mindful too, because it does stop Drytron players. So if Drytron go through and occur some machine shenanigans, like they will special summon one out the graveyard, you chain this and change it from machine to something else, they can't use the ritual spell card to summon their power plays, because when they try to send the material that was changed in the graveyard back to the graveyard, they could not, because he's no longer a machine, and that shuts that play down. And also, with my next build, like I said, I was doing Time Lords. I'm gonna combo the continuous trap card I mentioned in my last video. Is something rebirth with opening of the spirit gates. Opening of the spirit gates can be a good staple card to any monster that is 0 attack. Even though opening of the spirit gates let you discard a card to target a fiend in the graveyard with 0 attack to special summon it. In my case, I'm playing Time Lords, so I'm gonna make all my Time Lords that touch the graveyard fiends, and I can easily bring them back. So Open of the Spirit Gates would be a staple in my Time Lord deck, as well as this. So those 2 card combos would give me continuous Time Lords out the graveyard. Even though they go back to the deck during the standby phase, I really don't care. But just having the ability of having more than one Time Lord on the field is all I care about. So that's it for this video in terms of that. Deck profile of Time Lord deck of how I'm gonna run it. I have 2 variants. One's a pendulum base. Once we get beyond the pendulum, once we get her in the next set, I'm gonna do a deck profile on that variant. But for right now, this variant that I have with that 2 card combo is more I'm mainly focused about. Alright guys, that's it for me. Just whining, not complaining, just, I'm all for it. So I have no complaints other than you have infinite negates and you spring a Mystic Mount on them, now they hate the card. It's bad for blood. So they rather see that banned than to see Dark Ruler No More get touched. So it is what it is. So you just got to suck it up, pull your panties out your ass crack, and build your deck using your own strategy and your own methods, and have your own outs instead of looking what won and all that stuff. Other than that, still love you though. Alright guys, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to your boy Rogue Scientist. I'll catch you in the next video. Peace out, signing off.